Good evening, Chicago. Are you ready for some Monday Night Football? Well, I hope you are. We are set to get you ready for it. Bears and Rams Monday Night Preview. Welcome into Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio. I am your host, Adam Karnick. Man, I am excited. I am pumped. I am ready to go. This is going to be a fantastic game tonight. It's going to be an old school, knock 'em out, drag down, bullfight of a game. I can't wait to get to it. Going to have some help getting us ready for it tonight. We're going to be talking, obviously, all about the Bears, all about what they need to do about beating the Rams tonight in a very winnable matchup, but also no walk in the park either. And to give us some perspective on the other side, we're going to have some help tonight. I've got Teran Rodriguez, who is all over IE Sports. You can see him just about anywhere at any time on any of the shows helping out. He's jumping in tonight to talk about the Rams with us, so we've got that going on. We'll preview what the Bears have to do to win, what the Rams are going to try to do to beat the Bears, what this win can mean for both sides. Take a look at what happened around the league yesterday, and we'll throw in some predictions on what we think is going to happen. Going to be a ton of fun tonight. I am stoked. I am psyched. I am so glad that you are here with me, with us tonight. Let's have some fun. Let's buckle up. Let's go. And welcome on into the show tonight. Once again, this is Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And we are now sponsored. We are brought to you by another app company. With apps like Me, the BS Meter, and Facefly, another app company starts by building apps they love and sharing them with the world. Find them online at anotherappcompany.com and in the Google Play Store, and coming soon to the Apple App Store. So very excited. That's something that came down just recently for us, that we now have an official sponsor here at the station. Very exciting. All right, let's get some of the housekeeping out of the way real quick. Ways to follow along with the show. If you are listening live here on the Spreaker app, hello, log on in to the chat room. We can talk back and forth there, have some fun that way. Of course, you can follow along with the station. You can find us on Facebook. Just look for IE Sports. You can also find the station at IE Sports on Twitter. The show is at Chi-Town Weekly, IESR. My personal account is at Adam_Karnick, if you want to follow along that way. And then we have a guest joining us all night tonight for this show. Teran Rodriguez is in with us tonight. You can hear him. He's in the chat rooms all the time on IE Sports Radio. He also has two shows that he does every week. He's got Set Point that he does about volleyball on Wednesdays, and then he does the SoCal Supreme Sports Show on Friday nights. You can follow Teran at Teran Rodriguez 1 on Twitter. Teran, thanks for hopping on and joining in tonight.
Hey, it's great to be on here, Adam. It's a pleasure to talk with you about some Rams and Bears football, and I'm really excited for tonight's Monday Night Football. Second straight primetime game for the Rams, as they played last week on Sunday Night Football. So now they're under the bright lights yet again.
Yeah, and you got to actually call that game for our sister station over on Wellington Sports Radio. You did a wonderful job, by the way. Kudos to you for that. What were you kind of taken away when you look at the Rams? We'll start here. what do you take away from this team? Obviously, they're 4-2. The record speaks for itself. They're in one of the tough divisions in football, probably the toughest division. What is your takeaway from this Rams team?
So the Rams have been quite impressive this year. I didn't really have too many big expectations. I knew they'd be a dark horse team, but for the most part, they looked pretty impressive. Their only 4 wins are against the NFC East, which all of us pretty much know how that's kind of been going. But outside of that division, they're kind of winless. So they kind of have a lot to prove until they get it to everyone, until they get an actual win that's not from the NFC East. So, but the Rams look somewhat impressive. They played the 49ers tough, but they were playing from behind most of the game. They played the Bills tough, which they were trailing for the most part. Then they almost pulled out a win after being down 28-3, but then they just fell short. And then they looked impressive in their Monday night or their season debut against the Cowboys, and then they had a somewhat impressive win over the Eagles. Good road win, honestly. So, yeah, I think the Rams have been up and down, but I think they still need to prove to people that they can take the next step if they want to get that wild card spot, or if they want to stay in the hunt for the NFC West title, because after last night's upset between the Cardinals and the Seahawks, the NFC West could be up for grabs. Heck, even the 49ers still have a shot at winning. They're starting to get it together in terms of being healthy. So that's just my little takeaway on the Rams. The Rams have got to step it up a notch.
It's funny. You mentioned the record. I was gonna bring that up a little later, and we'll talk a little bit more in depth about the record and the divisions as we go. We'll look at kind of what tonight's game, the further implications for both teams on this game tonight. When I look at the Rams, I feel like the Bears are almost looking in the mirror. You've got head coaches on both sides that are known for their offense. Sean McVay is the wizard of misdirection and pre-snap movement and all the ways to confuse the defense. Nagy comes from the Andy Reid tree, that wonderful offense that we see working so well in Kansas City and has worked well elsewhere. But for the most part, their offenses are underperforming this season. The Bears come in as the 31st ranked offense in the league. The Rams just barely crack the top 20 at 19th overall. Both are the bottom third of the league when it comes to the passing attack. The Bears rank 27th. The Rams rank 20th. Again, just barely cracking the top 20 in the league there. But then the defenses, my goodness, the defenses, 2 top 5 defenses going at it with guys like Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey for the Rams, and Khalil Mack and Akeem Hicks, and all the pieces of the Bears secondary. I really do feel like these are 2 teams that are just mirror images of each other. So I want to ask you, coming from the Rams' perspective, I'm curious, when you look at the Bears' defense from a Rams' perspective, who's like the first name or the first area that jumps out at you?
So the first name of the Rams' defense that comes to mind is obviously Aaron Donald, one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. Last week against the 49ers, he did not have a sack against Jimmy Garoppolo. Sure, he and the rest of the Rams defense pressured Garoppolo, but they didn't get one sack on Garoppolo, which is kind of surprising because I would think that Garoppolo, having such a dreadful game the week before against the Dolphins, would have at least gotten sacked once or picked off. So the Rams defense looked very sloppy against the 49ers the week before. Jalen Ramsey has been up and down. You know, he's had himself in a little bit of controversy and so getting himself in not too much trouble, but let's just say he's been biting off more than he can chew with some of these games that he's been in. So, but overall, And I think one more player that stands out is Andrew Whitworth, the ageless Andrew Whitworth. So overall, the Rams defense is going to need to be strong, and the Rams' offense. We're obviously not there yet, but the Rams' offense is okay. I wouldn't call it great, and I'm about to tell you in a little bit because one key player won't be playing for the Rams tonight. So, but the defense looks pretty good. Like, other than last week against the 49ers, it's been good for the most part.
Yeah, I look at the Rams defense, and to me, Aaron Donald, to me it starts and ends with Aaron Donald. The Bears' offensive line is, I'll be generous, middle of the pack at best, suspect at times. They suffered an injury at left guard a couple of weeks ago, losing regular starter James Daniels, who, when these two teams played a couple of years ago, James Daniels went up against Aaron Donald and punched him in the mouth, and Donald, I think, got taken by surprise by that and was a bit taken aback. Coming into the game tonight, I fear for the Bears' ability to stop Aaron Donald from just absolutely destroying what they want to do on offense. I feel like what the Bears are going to have to do is get the ball out quickly, get some quick passes in the slot or the middle of the field. Guys like Anthony Miller and Cole Kmet and Jimmy Graham, some of those guys, some of the lesser-known names from the Bears offense are going to have to step up in a way so that Aaron Donald doesn't just eat Nick Foles for dinner.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And sometimes less might be a little bit more. Sometimes those dump passes could net you some good yardage. It all depends on if the defense is expecting it or if they're just dropping back due to a possible deep pass. But I don't think Foles is really well known for deep passes. Like, he's not like that Patrick Mahomes or Russell Wilson or heck, maybe even Josh Allen type of deep pass, but he is a solid quarterback. He's definitely done a great job, and he definitely does deserve that starting quarterback position. As for the Rams' offense, personally, they're going to have to go with somewhat of an aerial attack, and they still have to even watch out for Roquan Smith, which can possibly shut him down. And one key factor that I said that the Rams were going to have was their tight end, Tyler Higbee. But unfortunately, Tyler Higbee is ruled out for tonight's game. So it's going to have to be the next man up, and that's going to have to be Gerald Everett, who is the second tight end behind Higbee. So without Higbee, it gives the Rams one less option, but they still have a decent plethora of options. They have Darrell Henderson out of Memphis. They have Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods. They're two-headed wide receiver monster. They have Malcolm Brown, their second string running back. They also have Josh Reynolds, who had a touchdown late against the 49ers last week. He's not really the best offensive option, but he's certainly not the worst. He gives the Rams a little more depth, and that's kind of what the Rams need offensively, especially with a quarterback such as Jared Goff. And let me tell you about Jared Goff. He did not have the greatest game. He went 19 for 38, had only 198 yards. He had a pick, and he did have 2 touchdowns, but it wasn't a great Jared Goff game. I think he could have played a whole lot better, and he knows it. So overall, we'll have to see which Jared Goff will be getting. Either the Jeff Fisher Jared Goff or the Super Bowl 53 quarterback from Jared Goff.
Yeah, and Goff has not enjoyed playing against this Bears team. This is actually the third year in a row that these two teams have met. It's a rubber match of sorts. They're going to meet. They're scheduled to meet again next year, and who knows? They could meet in the postseason later on this season. But in the last 2 years when they've met, Goff has not thrown a touchdown pass against this defense, and he's thrown 5 interceptions against this defense. So this defense has had Goff's number a little bit. It's going to be interesting to see, will that trend continue, or as you say, will Goff kind of revert to his Super Bowl year form a little bit and have some success? For the Bears offense, we talked about Aaron Donald. The secondary for the Rams, of course, there's Jalen Ramsey there, and you've got to be leery and weary of him. What is the best way to attack this particular Rams defense? I feel like it's kind of that linebacker level. Is that kind of the way to go about and attack these guys?
Yeah, to me, I think it would basically just straight up attack them, and for the most part, I think the Rams are an unpredictable team. They're like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. That has to be said for the Bears, though, because many people didn't really have a whole lot of expectations against Tom Brady and Tampa Bay. So I think the best way to go at it is just have your offensive line just put up the best it can go up against with Aaron Donald. Heck, maybe you might even have to double team him in order to possibly slow him down. But Aaron Donald's a tough man to slow, so it's just I don't even know a way to stop Aaron Donald. But probably just double team him if need be, or just have a mobile quarterback that can outrun him, kind of like a Kyler Murray or a Patrick Mahomes, or heck, even a little Justin Herbert action. But that's just me. But Aaron Donald is a tough nut to crack, honestly.
Oh, yeah, the Bears will absolutely be. I expect them to double team him far more often than not. Nick Foles is he's not a statue, but he's not the most fleet of foot guy either. If he's having to run away from Aaron Donald more often than not, that is going to make for a very, very, very long night for the Bears offense. Real quick, and then we're going to go to break here. How has Leonard Floyd looked in a Rams uniform?
Leonard Floyd's looked pretty solid, actually. He hasn't looked bad. I think he's had his moments for the Rams. He's had his good moments, and he's had his bad moments. I think the good moments definitely outweigh the bad moments, if you ask me. But he looks pretty solid in a Rams uniform overall. So, to me, I think he's been a good addition for the Rams, and I think he'll continue to benefit the Rams as he continues to play for them and adapt to the defensive structure of the Rams, because the schedule just gets tougher and tougher for the Rams going forward. So they've exited their little minnows and guppies schedule. Now they're swimming with the sharks. So yeah.
All right, well, that makes for a wonderful segue, because we're going to take a quick break, and then coming out, we're going to take a little bit more of a look at what this game means for both teams on the whole for their season now and going forward. This is Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Back in a minute.
Hey guys, it's Blake Henley, better known as H-Town Blake to some of you. Happy to announce that Bases Loaded is back in full force. We'll be bringing that high heat every Tuesday night here on IE Sports Radio. So come home, get ready, dig into that batter's box, and see if you can chase that high heat, baby. So we'll be coming to you live with all the stats, all the rundowns, all the division rivalries, and every team that's going to make the playoff push to get to that one and only October and get to the pinnacle of what baseball is, to hoist that Commissioner's Trophy when it's all said and done.
college football? And do you want to hear a college football show dedicated to all that is college football, including junior college and the CCCAA and the NJCAA, the NAIA, and the NCAA, including Division III, Division II, Division I AA in the FCS, and Division I Single A in the FBS? Well then look no further. Join myself, Larry B., and my colleagues, Mr. H-Town Blake Henley, and Mr. Christian Espinoza, each week during the college football season for the latest in college football on 3 and Out College Edition, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hi everybody, it's Calvin here from USRN, here to give you an important message. Since 2017, we have done our absolute best to provide you with nothing but the highest quality of sports calls in the greatest of quantity possible. Thanks to you, our station has grown more than we ever thought. That's why, with your help, we would like to grow even further. Just think, twice the amount of your favorite calls, 24 hours of coverage, talk shows, play-by-play, game-by-game analysis, and so much more. That's right, USRN2 is officially in development, but we can't do it alone. We have set up a GoFundMe page that you can access from our homepage on the left of your screen. We also are planning special giveaways and prizes to our highest owners. Our goal here at USRN is to bring you the best calls possible at no cost to you. In order to continue to do that, we need your help now. Please check out our GoFundMe page, and if you would like to know how you can help, you can email usrnradio@gmail.com. Without your support, we couldn't do what we do.
What's good, fight fans? It's your boy, Marcus Rose Great, here to give you what you want, here to give you what you need. Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm coming to you live, straight from your mama's basement with a crispy, awesome white tea. We are coming to you live every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Everybody, this is Teran Rodriguez. Are you a fan of volleyball? Are you a fan of Thunderous Spikes? Then I have the show for you, Set Point, where I cover NCAA men's and women's volleyball, high school boys and girls volleyball, beach volleyball, and even professional volleyball. Catch the action every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And welcome back into Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Monday Night Football edition. We are previewing Bears-Rams all the way up to kickoff tonight. And sitting in, you just heard his ad there for Set Point. Teran Rodriguez is joining us, both of Set Point and of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, to give us a little bit of perspective from the other side. So we teased coming coming into the break there, we teased that this game is going to have lasting impact for both of these teams going forward. You mentioned, Teran, in talking about the Rams, that the Rams sit at 4-2, but all 4 of their wins have been against just NFC East opponents, which is hands down the worst division in the NFL right now. You've got nobody has more than 2 wins in that division, and all 4 teams just look awful. The Seahawks lost yesterday, so the Rams, you've got a chance to gain ground on your division leader, but they lost to the Cardinals, so you need to win this game to maintain with Arizona. Kind of talk a little bit about what this means for the Rams, this game kind of as a whole, for keeping pace in what is shaping up to be probably the toughest division in the game.
So if you look at the rest of the Rams' schedule, they play a bunch of possible playoff teams. Like after this week, and not to look too far ahead, they play the Dolphins. I know they're not the best team in the world, but with a new quarterback in Tua Tagovailoa, you never know what that can bring. But even the Dolphins have a shot this year with talented receivers such as Preston Parker, Mike Gesicki. The list goes, and a few others as well. So, and then after the Dolphins, they play the Seahawks, then the Bucks, then the 49ers, then the Cardinals, then the Patriots, then the Jets, which is not a playoff team, unfortunately, unless they prove me wrong.
They prove the entire world wrong if they did that.
Yeah. Yeah, then they have the Seahawks and Cardinals to close out the season. So overall, now that the Rams have gotten their, like I said, they've gotten their cupcake schedule out of the way. Now they have to face some big boy teams. And last week against the 49ers, they looked a little unimpressive. And I also forgot to mention that the Rams have a change in kicker. They have Kai Forbath as the kicker, as Sam Sloman is still going to be on the team, but he's just been underachieving for the Rams ever since Greg the Leg Zuerlein left for the Dallas Cowboys. So kind of wishing you had Greg, Rams, but that's besides the point. And it's just a little bit of a semi-carousel with everything that the Rams have been dealing with their cap space, and then them not having a first-round draft pick, they're not going to have a whole lot of first-round draft picks for quite some time. So they better hope that they can find a way to make this all work out.
Now, interesting that you mentioned Kai Forbath, the kicker, because I'm looking at the inactives list right now for the Rams, and actually they are listing Kai Forbath as inactive tonight. So who does that make the Rams kicker then if Forbath is inactive?
It would probably be Sam Sloman. I forgot. When it comes to these COVID protocols, like he has to have a 6 negative COVID test in order to play. So it kind of slipped my mind, but he will be taking over kicker duty. So I would imagine it would still be Sam Sloman still kicking the extra points and the field goals. But expect Kai Forbath to take some field goal attempts and some PATs and all that. So Sam Sloman should be the kicker tonight.
Okay. And so for the Bears on the flip side, so when we look at, so the Rams, they're 4-2, but is it fair to say then that for the Rams this is a statement game? I feel for the Bears that absolutely this is an opportunity to make a statement. The Bears coming into tonight, of course, they're 5-1, but everybody in the world says, yeah, they're the worst 5-1 team ever. They're still 5-1. They're still what their record says they are. They beat Brady last week. They beat Brady a couple weeks ago. They beat the Panthers last week. They had their first 3 games where they were against weaker opponents, and 2 of them gave up fourth quarter leads. Do you feel like the Rams need this game in order to make a statement that they are legitimate, or are they legitimate even with a loss tonight?
I think for the Rams, they need this win just to prove that they can win against an opponent that's outside of the NFC East. And personally, I think that the Bears can also benefit from a win as well, because that would keep them on top of the NFC East standings, because the Seahawks lost, and now the Bears, who are tied with the Seahawks, are still on top of the NFC East. But it's a big game for both teams, and I'm glad it's on prime time. So honestly, I think this is a must-win for both teams, and I think the Rams need it more so, considering that the tough division they play in. I mean, you could say the same thing for the Bears, considering their tough division in the NFC East or the NFC North. But for the Rams, the loss puts them tied for third/last with the 49ers, and theoretically the 49ers have the tiebreaker over the Rams because of certain situations. So
yeah, that game last week.
Yeah, from last week. Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, this game for the Bears is absolutely huge. You win this game tonight, not only do the Bears stay on top of the NFC North at 6-1, they jump to the top of the entire NFC. It's suddenly everybody in the NFC is now looking up at the Bears, and you can poo-poo all you want that, they're not that good of a 6-1 team. They're 6-1, and everybody else is chasing. I don't necessarily think that the Bears would automatically hold on to the entire lead of the conference. There's still a lot of football left to be played even after tonight. There's still 10 weeks left, COVID permitting. There's still 10 weeks left on the regular slate yet. So there's a lot that could happen, but for the Bears, this game is huge. You win this, you're 6-1, you're on top of the entire conference. You lose this game tonight, and you're not even on top of your division. A loss tonight moves the Bears back into second. They'd be a half game behind the Packers. The Packers won yesterday. They beat Houston yesterday. And then don't look now, but the Detroit Lions are back to 500. They're creeping up there. They'd only be a game and a half in front of the Lions, and only a game up in the loss column, to use kind of the baseball term. So this is teetering a little bit for the Bears here. This is win and you are in fantastic shape. Lose and suddenly the pack has caught you a little bit here. So there's and looking at the upcoming schedules for the Packers and the Lions a little bit here. The Packers, they have 4 games until they play the Bears on a Sunday night. Those 4 games, they should take minimum 2 of them. They're playing the Vikings and they're playing the Jaguars for sure in that stretch. I'm pulling it up right now so I can get it right. But I know I was looking at it earlier and I was thinking minimum the Packers are going to win 2 of their next 4 before playing against the Bears in a big Sunday night game. They've got the Vikings and the Jaguars in there sprinkled in with the Niners and the Colts. I think that's a minimum 2 wins for the Packers. So you're talking the Packers are minimum 7-3 going into a game against the Bears. And then the Lions, they've got 5 games before a date with Chicago. And it's very conceivable that they could win 3 of those. I'm pulling up their opponents right now, but I remember it includes dates with Houston and Minnesota in there, and thinking that, man, they could easily get 3 of those 5 games, and suddenly you're talking about a very competitive NFC North. So it's important to kind of stockpile some wins if you can. Yeah, they've got the Lions coming up before they play the Bears next. They've got the Colts. All right, that one probably isn't going to be a win. But then they've got the Vikings, Washington, Carolina, and Houston. It's very conceivable that the Lions could win 3 of those games, and suddenly you're talking about a very competitive NFC North. So this is a very important game for the Bears from that standpoint and that perspective too. So if things are going well for the Rams tonight, what is this game going to look like? If things are rolling well for Los Angeles, what is it going to look like to you on your end? What is that you're seeing on the field?
So if everything goes well for the Rams will more than likely be in Bears territory for the most part. I think the Rams' offense has potential, but the thing about them is that sometimes they're off and sometimes they're not. They're on, and the Rams always have to be on. And I feel this is kind of a surprise game, and this could be somewhat of a trap game for the Bears, who play the Saints next week, and that's going to be a big game right there as well. But for a team that's 4-2 and that hasn't proven a whole lot other than being the NFC East, the Rams are favored by 6.5 points, which is kind of surprising, honestly. To me, I think the Rams need to just strike early and often, and even if it means having Jared Goff having to scramble for the most part. But I don't know if Jared Goff is the greatest scrambler in the world, but I don't think he's up there in that too much of an old age. I think Goff still has some youth in his legs to scramble. So to me, Goff has the receivers. He has the receivers like Kupp and Woods, but it's all about on if he can get into a rhythm and if he can avoid Khalil Mack. And I think Khalil Mack is playing because I didn't see him pop up on the injury report.
He is a full go. Oh yes, he is a go.
Oh yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much what I expect, and I pretty much expect an air raid from Jared Goff.
Okay, on the Bears' perspective, I think if this game is going the Bears' way, you're going to see a very, very much like what we've seen the last 2 years when these two teams have played. It's going to be very ugly. It's going to be very low scoring. Not a lot of up and down. I think one thing that I feel is kind of underrated about the Bears' defense is their secondary. And tonight's going to be a great test for that secondary with Woods and Kupp and Everett because Higbee's out. I think this is going to be a great test for that secondary to see just how good they are. Through the first 6 weeks, Kyle Fuller and Jalen Johnson, the two Bears starting corners, have been two of the most effective corners in the NFL. They've both allowed the fewest and second fewest completed passes against. Quarterbacks are completing less than 50% of their targets against both of those corners. Fuller is a bit more of a known commodity, being the veteran. Johnson is a rookie this year. The Panthers made a concentrated effort of attacking him in their game last week. And looking across the Bears secondary, I can understand why. You've got Fuller on one side. Then in the safeties, you've got Eddie Jackson that everybody knows if you make a mistake against him, he's going to intercept it. And not only is he going to intercept it, chances are he's going to bring it back for a touchdown. He hasn't had an official interception yet this season, but he's had two that got taken back by penalties. And in both of them, he actually returned them for scores, only to have them get wiped out thanks to penalties. So you got to be careful targeting him. And then Tayshaun Gibson has been tough at the other safety spot. So you're almost limited to, well, we've just got to attack the rookie and see what happens. And Johnson has been holding his own on the other corner spot. So I think that's going to be a very interesting matchup to see how that goes tonight, to see how the Rams wide receivers stack up against the Bears secondary. I honestly expect the Bears secondary to hold its own and win more often than you might expect. I think that the secondary is going to frustrate those Rams wide receivers. The one thing, of course, with the Rams is the way McVay loves to mix things up and disguise things at the point of attack before the play is run. So that'll be, to me, that's going to be kind of the key matchup for the Bears defensively. Offensively, it's just, you can't turn the ball over. You can't let Aaron Donald destroy you at the line of scrimmage for the Bears.
And I totally agree. And one thing I might actually have to say is maybe I expect the Rams to get their running game going. I think their running game leaves a lot to be desired since Todd Gurley left. And again, Darrell Henderson has been taking the snaps for the most part, but sometimes Sean McVay goes to Malcolm Brown, who was the backup running back last year. And then he also has Cam Akers to go in at running back as well. So look for McVay to try to mix it up, because McVay is kind of the unpredictable wild card. And again, the Rams are like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. And I think McVay is the type of coach who will put the other team on your toes. Sometimes other coaches are playing checkers while he's playing chess. So.
Yeah, and I saw that the Rams actually come into this with the 10th ranked rushing attack in the NFL, yet they're not very high in scoring overall. What I feel like that's a way that the Rams can attack the Bears. That's an area that the Bears might be susceptible, is in their run defense. It's improved the last couple of weeks, but it's still not dominant against the run. Why is it that the Rams' running attack statistically is as good as it is, yet they're not putting up the points that you'd expect? And I'm looking here. Yeah, they rank just 18th in the league at a little over 25 points a game. Why haven't the Rams been able to put up more points?
To me, I think it's because sometimes Goff will attempt to hand it off to like Robert Woods, or he'll just flip it to like Robert Woods or Tyler Higbee. Like, he comes up with these crazy trick plays, and sometimes they work and sometimes they belly flop. But for the most part, I think the reason being is because I feel the Rams sometimes are a little less aggressive. They're sometimes going into conservative mode, and they sometimes just hide in their little shell, knowing that they can't put up points. So I think that they lack a little aggressiveness when they're in like the red zone, and it kind of showed against the 49ers last week, and it kind of did also show against the Giants, because that's an opponent that the Rams could beat any day of the week. But they only put up 17 on him, which really had me concerned. So overall, I think we're going to see a little more aggressive Jared Goff and Rams offense, and I think that's the key. They got to be more aggressive. They can't be conservative. They can't just play it safe. Sometimes you got to take that deep shot and penetrate the man-to-man or zone defense.
All right, sounds good. Well, we're going to take one more break, and then when we come back, Teran, I'm going to ask you to pick a winner for tonight, and then I will do likewise. This is Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Welcome to the Soccer Scoreboard Show with your host, Gabriel Montoya. This is the show for soccer, football fans, or whatever you call the beautiful game. Every week, I tackle the latest and greatest news from around the soccer world. From the English Premier League, to the World Cup, to MLS, Liga MX, and more. You can listen to the Soccer Scoreboard Show and our lineup of fantastic guests every Friday at noon here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey USRN fans, do you have a product or company you're trying to promote? Look no further. USRN is teaming up with small local businesses trying to establish themselves via online promotion. Let us know if you're interested. Email us at usrnradio@gmail.com to learn more.
Welcome in to the Neutral Zone. I'm your host, Robert Kavanaugh, and you're listening to IE Sports Radio. If you like big, nasty hits, if you like slap shots straight to the neck, if you like it when the gloves hit the ice and the big boys get down, then this is your show. On IE Sports Radio, this is the Neutral Zone. May our shots on goal always be true and straight to the net. If they are not, may they be followed up, redirected, or change collected. Let's go on IE Sports Radio with me, your host, Robert Kavanaugh, and this is the Neutral Zone.
Down! Green team! Set! Hey!
What's going on, football fans? This is me, your boy Larry B, inviting you to join myself, Colin Reynolds, Mike Pat, and John Felipe for one of the most electrifying football shows you have ever heard. 3 and Out, right here at IE Sports Radio. Recap of the week before, a preview of what's to come, and of course, 3 hardcore head-to-head prime-time face-offs each week. You don't want to miss it.
Hey sports fans, do you like wine? Well, we've got the show for you. This is Let's Wine About Sports, a show where we talk about wine and sports simultaneously. From the classic Cabernet Sauvignon all the way down to the grapes that you've never even heard of before. Oh yeah, we cover it all. And we'll talk about a little bit of sports as well. Football, hockey, collegiate, women's sports, it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about it all, and we're going to whine about it all. So join me Monday at 8 p.m. on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
All right, and welcome back into Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Monday Night Football Preview Edition. We're talking Bears and Rams. Teran Rodriguez has been in with us the whole night. Thank you, Teran, for taking some time out of your Monday to talk about this football game with us. Really appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No problem at all, Adam. I feel honored to be on your show and talk some Rams with you. And this should be fun because I'm pretty much a SoCal guy, even though my team is the Chargers. But we're not going to go into that matchup from last year.
I promise I'm not going to bring up Justin Herbert or doctors and chest cavities and all those kinds of fun things. I promise I won't do that. So.
Oh yeah.
So all right. So let's get down to brass tacks. Prediction time. And real quick, before you make your prediction, I remember you saying last week on SoCal Supreme Show, which, by the way, you should check out on Friday nights here on IE Sports Radio. What's the time on that? What time do you go on with SoCal?
5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern.
So 7 o'clock in the Central. So Friday nights at 7, listen to this guy talk about SoCal sports. I'm sure you'll have some Dodgers to talk about. There's that whole World Series thing that's been going on. So,
oh, yeah, there is. Oh, yeah, I forgot. There is that little World Series going on.
That little World Series. Fortunately, they were very kind to take tonight off so that we could focus exclusively on football. But then you mentioned last Friday on your show that had you known that Jimmy Garoppolo was undefeated against the Rams, maybe you would have taken the Niners. Well, Nick Foles is 3-0 against the Rams coming in. All 3 starts were obviously with Philadelphia, not with Chicago. But he is 3-0 lifetime, and Aaron Donald has yet to get a sack of Nick Foles in his career. So with that in mind, who are you going with tonight?
All right, so I thought long and hard about this, and considering the circumstances and considering the momentum that both teams have, I have decided to take the Chicago Bears to win this one, winning 24-21.
High scoring. All right, so you're liking the Bears to pull off the upset, even though the Rams are favored. Oh, I think I saw it go as high as 6.5. I think the line's down to about 5 now in favor of the Rams. You're taking the visitors in the upset.
Yeah, surprisingly, the Bears are 5-1, and yet the Rams are 4-2, and yet the Rams are favored. So it's kind of an underdog mentality, but I don't know. I wouldn't call this an upset, but I wouldn't call this I wouldn't call it an upset if the Bears won, but I wouldn't call it an upset if the Rams won. So I think it's just going to be a great overall football game, and I think both of these teams are going to start slow, but then they're eventually going to build up to a great and dramatic ending.
I agree with you there. I think this is going to be quite the ending. When I look at this, again, this is the 3rd year in a row that these two teams have met. The line in Vegas, the over-under line on this game for total points scored is set at 44. I think that's way too high. These two teams, when they met each of the last 2 years, neither team has broken 20. And in fact, the losing team has failed to score a touchdown both times when they've played the last 2 years. I think this is going to be an incredibly low-scoring game. I don't think either team is going to break 20 tonight. I think you're looking at a lot of field goals, a lot of field goals back and forth. I don't quite think it's going to be the first team to score a touchdown wins, but I do think that it's going to come down to the kicking game. And with that in mind, now with Kai Forbath not being active tonight for the Rams, I'm in such a quandary now because I'm not sure that I trust either field goal kicker if the game is on the line. I know Cairo Santos for the Bears is the reigning NFC Special Teams Player of the Week, but I'm haunted by the double doink. I know I will always, for the rest of my life, be haunted by the double doink. I just don't trust kickers not named Robbie Gould anymore. I just don't. Bears kickers not named Robbie Gould, I just don't trust with the game on the line. So with that in mind, I think if this game does come down to a field goal at the end, I hate to say it, I think the Rams will have just the ever so tiniest of slight advantages. I also feel like the Rams defense has been so good at not allowing points in the second half, and the Bears have been so awful at scoring points outside of the fourth quarter, that I feel like if the Bears get down in this one, that they won't be able to recover and create the miraculous fourth quarter comeback. So I think I'm gonna go the other way. I'm gonna go with, here's an oddball, goofy score for you. I'm gonna go Rams 16, Bears 13 for a final score. But I like yours so much better. I really hope yours is right and mine is wrong. So.
Oh yeah.
All right. So I know you are a very busy guy here on the network. What have you got coming up this week?
So for tomorrow, I have Set Point coming up tomorrow. It's going to be going live at 5 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Going to be talking some NCAA volleyball action, the last week of the ACC fall action. Going to be talking about a big-time matchup in the SEC between Missouri and Kentucky. Also got some big-time matchups in the Sun Belt Conference and the Big 12, and some other up-and-coming matches coming up. And it's sure to be a fun time. And I still can't believe I've surpassed 60 episodes, and I've also it's been a year since I've done Set Point. I've still been consistent despite COVID, so it's amazing.
Wow!
And then later on this week, sorry about that, but later on this week I have the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. It's going to be going live at 5 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I will be recapping the World Series because by the time I go live with the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, the World Series will have ended. Hopefully for us Los Angelinos, the Dodgers come out on top. And also hope everyone in Orange County is safe from the vegetation fire that was in Santiago Canyon and I forget the other canyon, but hope everyone is safe. I know that people from the Irvine area had to evacuate, so sending all the prayers to everyone that's in the Tustin area, the Fullerton area, and if anyone is having to evacuate from the fires.
Yeah, I heard about the fires earlier today. Yes, I hope everyone's able to evacuate and get to safety and get out with what they can, but most importantly, get out safely and healthy. Also, with another programming note, you can also check out, if you're interested in baseball stuff, check out the Bases Loaded show on Wednesday. They will definitely be recapping the World Series. They might have a Game 7 to talk about. They'll certainly have a Game 6 to talk about when they go on Wednesday nights. Well, that is going to do it for Chi-Town Weekly here this week. Teran, thank you again so much for taking some time out of your Monday night and giving some great insight onto what this Bears-Rams game might look like from the other side. Everybody out there, enjoy your week, kick back, enjoy some football, some other programming notes coming up after us tonight. We do have the Let's Whine About Sports show. Matt let us know he is going to be a little late in getting started. He's probably going to get started about 10 after or quarter after the hour instead of right on. So we were able to kind of chew up a little bit of that time a little bit, but he will be coming on tonight. And then also check out Seth Eves is going to be doing the call of tonight's Monday night game over on USRN. So if you're not able to watch the game or not able to listen to the local radio call, or you just want a different call, or you've only got your phone or your tablet, check out Seth. He does an awesome job over on USRN calling games. And then coming up later tonight, too, we've got the Unfiltered Truth. They are going to be talking about all things NFL and AFC West. Lots of Raiders and lots of Chiefs, I'm sure. Some great stuff coming up there. Next week on this show, we'll have not only this game to recap, we'll recap the Bears and Saints game. We'll have some Blackhawks to talk about. I've got Ben Pope of the Chicago Sun-Times is hopefully going to be able to join us. He and I were emailing a little bit back and forth today, so hopefully he's going to be able to join us, and then we'll take it from there. Everybody, have a fantastic week. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your night, whether it was live here tonight or later on in the week to listen to this. I hope we were able to entertain you and give you whatever you needed, whether sports was serious or a break from real life. I hope that we were able to provide that for you. Everybody stay safe, stay healthy. Don't forget to vote by next Tuesday. We will see you guys next week. Go Bears!